Lace 'em up, let's start the show. We're digging in with Trip. 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 We're digging in with Trip today. Yeah.
Welcome to what we hope will be a very special edition of Digging In. We're going to dig in momentarily with the Norris Trophy winner this season, Roman Josi. And I have it in my head right now, honestly, that I'm being too complimentary on the show. But this guy actually deserves it. I mean, he just won his first no shit. Well, welcome to a very special edition of Digging In. We will dig in momentarily with Norris Trophy winner. Has a nice ring to it, Roman Josi, the eagle-less captain of the Nashville Predators. And, you know, I have it in my head, by the way, with digging in merchandise. I'm being too complimentary of my guess. But this guy actually deserves it. He actually does. I mean, he should be in the conversation every year for the Norris and will continue to be all-around greatness on the blue line, what he's done for the community. I mean, he really actually is. Star player, better person, dad to be. But before we get to Yost, I want to make sure to remind everybody on all of our platforms, at Dig In Trip on Twitter and Instagram, YouTube, to rate and review our show. I mean, we need it. We need it. We need to, you know, we could be right in the middle of that, you know, second period malaise, where if we don't know how we can get better, we could be in trouble. So make sure that you rate and review the show. And also, with this beautiful merchandise that just came out, hats, toques, winter hats, hoodies, T-shirts, both regular ones, V-neck, mugs. We're looking into potentially Yetis. Dig In Trip, of course, with 2 Ps.com. Please, jump on the bandwagon and get the Digging In merchandise. Also, too, the great Fred. The finest Labradoodle on the planet. He and I are running for office. So, you know, we have some beautiful Trip and Fred merchandise. Grab that. Because I'm telling you, I think this ticket has a very bright future along with Fred. Anybody would as Fred's wingman. So now, without further ado, I'd like to thank our presenting sponsor, New Country Auto Group. They have just committed to us for another 10 episodes. We are very, very thankful for their loyalty. And, you know, a strong statement that they want to grow with Digging In, with car dealerships in New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Maryland, Florida, Mercedes. Roman Josi, our guest today, he has long been a very, very faithful Mercedes customer. BMW, Lexus, Ferrari, Maserati, the list goes on and on. Finest auto group in the United States, family owned. Special shout out to Jared the Nooch Cantanucci, an outstanding hockey player through the amateur prep school and then college ranks at Harvard. He is a key piece. He is a central piece to the fact that when you go to newcountry.com, visit any of their dealerships, I don't know if you're ready for the type of digging and service they're going to provide. So please support New Country. Now, without further ado, you know, he's been so good for so long now, but he never looks for the limelight. So let's really get to know this year's very deserving Norris Trophy winner, Roman Josi. Well, this is a treat. This is a treat. You know, here I am in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, and we'll get to it as we dig in together. Norris Trophy winner, my friend Roman Josi, seems to make good decisions every day. His best was he married a girl from my hometown, right down the street, the great Ellie Yossi. But, Yos, as I welcome you to Digging In, congratulations on your Norris. And as I start every show, I've got to ask you, how does Roman Josi define digging in?
I think as a hockey player, digging in is used a lot in playoffs, especially. So if you're talking about digging in, I'm thinking about playoff hockey. I think you have to dig in to get those wins, to get far. It's a grind. So yeah, that comes to my mind when you talk about digging in.
We're gonna dig in on a bunch of different layers on a variety of different fronts, but I want to start with your congratulations. I just talked to our mutual friend, your dear friend Nino Niederreiter. He's making fondue in Switzerland, and he said, boy, he's gonna be a daddy to be. His words. And congratulations. Due date with you and Ellie, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Speak about the emotion of moving towards being a father for the first time.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, when we found out that she was pregnant, it was obviously really emotional, and just the whole process, seeing her, seeing the belly grow, and you can feel him kick a little bit now. So it's pretty cool, and just the ultrasounds, everything. There's so many different emotions, and yeah, we're both really looking forward to meeting the little guy, and yeah, it's going to be awesome. We're definitely very happy right now.
By the way, if baby boy, your old coach Kevin McCarthy, who loves you, said just make sure he's a right shot because there aren't many of those.
It's a good point. Just like Cato.
Yeah, just like the great Cato. I
Yeah.
played for him. At one point in the American Hockey League, Yossi was my coach, and he has three beautiful daughters. And he actually said to me, I don't know if he was sniffing glue that day or what, but he said, Tripp, you're the kind of guy that I'd like one of my daughters to marry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a big compliment.
Yeah, it
that
sure
is.
is.
A huge compliment.
Yeah.
Cato's the best too. He's awesome.
He is a colossal.
Really is.
He's a colossal fan of yours. You know what? Why not, Yos? I typically don't jot things down, but in this particular case, I wanted to. And Cato said, captains are not born. You earn it. Would you agree with that? And if you were to summarize, from stem to stern, the people, the moments that stick out to you in making you now a super leader, what would you say?
Well, I think it all starts with learning from people. I had the privilege to have Shea Weber as the captain here, and then Mike Fisher for a year. And those are two unbelievable leaders, amazing people, amazing leaders, great hockey players, obviously. But I think that's definitely one thing. Just growing up here in Nashville and watching them lead and watch them what they do day in and day out, and just the people they are. So you're definitely learning over the years, and you go through those up and downs, and I think that's when you really learn how to handle certain situations. And I'm still learning a lot every day. So you can always learn more, but yeah, you definitely grow into it the more experience you get.
What was the biggest impact that Shea Weber made on you as a player and as a person?
Well, I think the first thing that sticks out is just every time he stepped on the ice, he was all out. Practice, games. He's the biggest team player you probably ever meet. Every time he played, he wanted to win. He wanted to play for the team, and I think that's what a captain needs to do. And he was the hardest worker in every game, and you could always count on him. He was. I played with him for so many years, and he never had a bad night, and even a bad night for him was a good night. He was so consistent and left it out there every game, and that was pretty impressive.
Yos, I've always, I watched right down the street from here. Man, oh man, 18th hole, you and me, mano-a-mano, big action on the line. I hit it right down the center of the fairway. You hit it into the woods. And I think I got you dead to rights. And there I saw the fiery competitor, the Roman Josi is, because you hit it from the woods to about 3 feet to make a birdie on a hole where Arnold Palmer won his U.S. Amateur once upon a time. So how would you say you balanced being a fiery, ultra-competitive guy with also being a constantly competitive player in person?
Well, I've always been pretty competitive, even as a child, and I think I got that from my mom. My mom was always really competitive, and I remember just playing any game. I always wanted to win, and when I'm passionate about something, I definitely put a lot into it, and I try to win. And so I always kind of been like that, and obviously there's a I'm a pretty positive person, but I think there's a fine line as a leader to be positive and also be honest. I think sometimes you have to say things that are uncomfortable, and they're not always positive. But yeah, I'm definitely more on the positive side. But like I said, I think there needs to be a balance between competitiveness and trying to win and being positive.
I saw, speaking of your mom, Doris, I saw a video that she had. Well, the Nashville Predators recently put on just a spectacular ceremony um, in celebrating your Norris Trophy achievement. Let's go back to when you were a kid. Tell us where you're from in Switzerland, what sports you played, that competitive nature that you spoke about, your mom, Doris, your dad, Peter. I know you're especially close with your grandmother, too.
Yeah, I'm from Bern, Switzerland. I grew up probably 10 minutes outside of town, and I started to play soccer first. Then my brother got into hockey. I was watching his practice, and I told my parents I wanted to play hockey too, so I started playing hockey and soccer. A lot of times I would actually go to hockey practice and then go to soccer practice right after, and then kept doing that for a couple of years, and then it got a little difficult with playing games on the weekends, and I kind of had to decide. And my mom said I always wanted to play soccer for some reason, and I think it was a coach that told me like, hey, like play hockey. You should play hockey, and finally made the decision to play hockey and quit soccer. But yeah, as a kid, we played tennis, we played soccer, hockey, obviously, and it was funny. My mom actually she would always come play hockey with us. Like she would come. It would be 20 guys playing hockey on a Saturday morning, just skating around, and it would be my mom out there too playing hockey with us. So she loved it. She was always competitive, and it was always a lot of fun.
Jumping right back to the press, and then we'll go right back to your childhood. Speaking of your mom, best memory with her on one of the mom's trips in the NHL.
Best memory. We only had one mom's trip with the Preds so far, but it was awesome. I think the best is just when we scored. Like the moms, you could see the suite, and you saw videos of it after how excited they were. And I think it's a little bit of different atmosphere if the dads are there or the moms, and the moms were so emotional. And it was just really cool to see. I mean, they really enjoyed the mom's trip. We enjoyed it. It was our first one, and it was so much fun just seeing their reaction when we scored, when we won the game. So it was pretty special.
It's not all fine and fun and dandy. You can carve with the best of them. I mean, we're just over a month away from Thanksgiving. You've carved me at times like a Thanksgiving turkey. And I've heard that you've done it to potato, bonino, hartnell. Where does that come from? Because you have a quick wit. I've seen it firsthand. Your mom, your dad, your grandmother, your brother, who?
I don't know. I mean, my mom is really competitive. She's very intense about sports too, and my dad is more calm. I think I got the calmness from him. He's really calm. You feel like he's always in control. Doesn't get upset about things too much, and he's always just calm. So I think I got some. Yeah, I got a little bit of a mix of both of them.
Well, that's the best way it should be. When you switched from soccer to hockey, were you always a defenseman? Did you play forward? I certainly hope you didn't pecorine it in the nets.
No, I didn't play goalie. I played forward till I was, I think, about 14, and then the coach just put me on defense, and I don't know why I played defense. I think we just didn't have enough defensemen, and from that point on, I just stayed as a D-man. I liked it, and yeah, just stayed with it.
What position were you? A center or a winger? I mean,
I think everything a little bit. I think we switched to I can't remember. I think I was both center, winger, a little bit of everything.
Soccer, what position?
Midfield.
Oh, midfield. Yeah, you've always been it.
Yeah, I wasn't a fast runner, so I was more in the middle. Just yeah, I feel like if you're on the outside in soccer, you got to be fast, and I was never a fast runner.
Yeah, two way, and then you played some tennis too. We'll get to your buddy Roger Federer. What a message he sent you to congratulate you on the Norris. Are you a decent tennis player? Have you ever hit with Raj?
No, I wish, I wish. No, I'm okay. Like I played. There's a couple summers when I played a lot of tennis. I played a lot with Mark Streit. We played a lot of tennis together, and yeah, there was a summer where probably one summer where I played 2 times, 3 times a week. I haven't played as much lately, but yeah, I mean, I like to play. It's such a great workout too.
At what point, so you move your teenager to defense, at what point, or had it already happened that you said, hey, listen, I want to make the National Hockey League. This is my goal. I have the belief that I can do it. Was there one particular time period that light went off and that focus went through the roof?
Probably not till the draft, to be honest. Just growing up in Switzerland, it's just it's so different, right? I remember only seeing the Don Cherry highlight videos. We never watched games live, or you didn't see a lot of games live. So the NHL was always so far away for us, and we followed the Swiss league a lot, and it was always your dream to make it to the Swiss league. Then once I got 16, 17, I played some international tournaments, and you start talking to some scouts, and you see some interest from NHL teams that might draft you. It becomes a little bit more real. But I think once I got drafted in Nashville, that's where I really became my goal to make it in the NHL. But it was still a long way.
Second round pick. Did you have a clue that Nashville was going to be the team to take you?
I talked to Nashville quite a bit, but yeah, I didn't know that Nashville was going to pick me. Honestly, I remember I had a small chance of going late in the first round, and you know how it is as an 18-year-old. The first round is such a huge accomplishment. So I remember end up not getting drafted in the first round. I was really disappointed that night, and then I got drafted by Nashville, and but yeah, I had no idea it was Nashville, but it was such a cool day with my family. We were in Ottawa. It's the first time I was really at an NHL rink, so it was pretty special.
Yeah, that's really cool. And by the way, and I can just see the uncomfortable nature that you're going to feel on this one through the screen because you're so darn humble. Don't let that go to your head. My God. But I think if we were to redo that draft, I think you'd be going right up in the stratosphere of that first round. All right, my man. Now, in a second, I want to get to, because I know, well, let me start with this before I get into why it's so special to be a Nashville Predator. You grew up a Detroit Red Wings fan, didn't you? If so, why?
Yeah, well, the Red Wings were like a team I followed a lot. It was around that time where they had that rivalry with Colorado. Joe Sakic was actually my favorite player growing up, and I just used to watch all their games, and then obviously Nick Lindstrom was always a guy I looked up to. So it was probably those two teams I followed the most, just watching their games and stuff. And yeah, Lindstrom. I mean, I got to play against him too. My first year in the league, that was his last year. We played playoffs against them, which was obviously pretty special for me.
What do you remember about your first shift in the National Hockey League against Nick Lindstrom? Anything?
I actually played my first game against the Red Wings too, my first NHL game. I just remember him we played him a couple times that year, and I mean he's just such a smart player. And I think one thing that I always remember is just him walking the blue line with his head up all the time and getting the shot off. And I think that's one of the hardest skills for a defenseman, to keep your head up, and just it seemed like the puck was just following him in the perfect position, and he had his head up and he could make a pass, or he could shoot it, he could do anything. So I think that's one of the hardest skills, and he was unbelievable at it.
You know, Yost, I don't really do many games between the benches anymore, but when I did, that might have been the part of the game, or one of the parts that I enjoyed the most, that puck was on such a string. And there are only a handful of guys that never have to look down. I mean, never. And I remember distinctly watching him from that standpoint. You know, it's if you had made it to free agency, and I mean this is a supreme compliment, I would guess the Red Wings would have come calling. So let's get into right now, because I hope, my friend, I wish we saw you more often. You're in the West, Canes are in the East. The Nashville Predators are a great organization. What is most special, has been, is, and you hope will continue to be about the Nashville Predators?
Well, there's a lot of things, but I think one thing that's really special here in Nashville is our connection with our fans. I feel like our fan base, they're so loyal. They're obviously, Bridgestone gets really loud. You know that on any day. It's one of the loudest buildings in the league. But I think just the connection we have with our fans, I think it comes from the whole organization, the way our organization is led. It's led by such good people, and it goes down to David Poyle, the management, everyone, the coaches. So it's just led by a lot of great people, and I think it shows in the community. And I think the team has this special bond with the community, which is pretty cool.
You can reach out and touch from the outside looking in, that connection. You didn't. I mean, you're not just, listen. Again, I know this is going to make you uncomfortable, partner, because I know you well. But you have not just been. You've been a true Norris Trophy candidate for several years. I mean, and I expect you to be for several more. You went to the American Hockey League. I mean, you went to Milwaukee. And I've seen, I won't mention any names, but in my time, I've seen defensemen. It's the hardest position to break into, in my view. I've seen defensemen, I don't think, progress the way that they potentially could have by maybe being in the NHL too soon. You probably didn't want to do it, but what would you say about, looking back, how important the American Hockey League was to your development and where you're at today?
It was awesome. Honestly, it was the best thing for me, for sure. I think for me, especially coming over from Europe, because there's so many different aspects in the game coming over from Europe, from a bigger ice rink. There's less games. You played 50 games a year, and all of a sudden you play 80 games. And there's just so many little things as a defenseman that you have to do different in North America. So for me, it was a great year. There's a lot of things I learned. So I mean, I'm glad I went to the American Hockey League, because I wasn't ready for the NHL. I think there's guys that are ready right away, some special talents that can play right away, but I definitely wasn't ready. So it was an awesome year for me.
What do you remember? Where were you when you got the call that you were getting called up? Were you on the road? Were you at home that you were on a plane to Nashville? Or were you going? You played Detroit. Was it on the road or at home?
Yeah, we played Detroit on the road, my first game. But I was in Milwaukee, and it was actually my second year in Milwaukee. But we only played 4 games, and then I got called up. And I remember the coach actually took me in the office. We were in Milwaukee that time, and he told me I could go up. So I flew to Nashville first, then we flew to Detroit, and it was pretty special playing against Detroit, my first game.
And Nick Lindstrom. Who was the coach in Milwaukee?
Lane Lambert.
Oh, Lane Lambert. Yep. Yeah, I was. And then after that, you were long gone, because I know my good buddy Kirk Muller coached there at one point.
Yeah, no, actually it was Kirk. Sorry. Lane was my first year. Then the second year was Kirk.
Well,
and he was awesome.
He's one of my favorite. You know what,
Yeah.
Yossi? Like you, if I'm ever in a dark alley late at night, Kirk Muller will be there any day or night that ends in a Y. He just became a grandfather.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Second or third time. Yep. He digs in. You know what? I'll have him on the show, because I only have people I will not have people on the show that don't dig in. It just won't happen. So
I like that.
Well, it's a prerequisite.
Yeah.
Why number was 59? Does it have special meaning? Was it assigned? What's the background on 5'9"er?
It was assigned, honestly. They gave it to me first day I came to camp, and I just kept it since. I just liked it. I don't know why. There's no particular reason behind it, but I just like the number.
You mentioned, okay, now you had the chance to play for a long time with Shea, let's call him Paul Bunyan Weber. And you mentioned Mike Fisher. God, I love that guy. I mean, I'm not trying. All my friends are giving me heat because they say all I do is, it's all smoke, complimenting everybody. I genuinely love Mike Fisher. Tell me about Mike Fisher. Boy, I wanted to see you win a cup with him. Just what a special player and person he is. Boy, I'm getting too positive again.
Yeah, no, he is. He really is. Everybody loves Mike. How could you not? So you can feel that. Like I came up when I was younger. I remember he was there. So and he was just one of the nicest guys right away. And he's respectful to everyone, not just his teammates, to everyone he meets. He's a very respectful and just a great person. And he's one of those guys who is on the ice. He's fearless. I mean, I think he's one of the. He used to be one of the toughest guys. I mean, he would hit hard, and he was such a strong guy. And he was like Shea. He was our captain, and you get to see him every practice, every game. He was leading by example, and he was the hardest working guy. And yeah, he's awesome person, awesome player.
Yos, you make me now think about the question with that great answer. And I think this is a spectacular part of the league right now, is players are comfortable talking about their faith. And Mike Fisher is a devout Christian, but you just talked about the fact, when he got on the ice, in the cleanest of ways, he was a predator. How do you think you mix that, of being a guy of supreme faith, but knowing that, if you've got to go through a guy to win a game, ultimately win the cup, that's what is necessary to be done?
Yeah, well, he was, like you said, he was a very, like, it was all like very fair. Like he played hard, but he played the game really, really honest. And he was just one of those guys you could always count on. Like he would just do anything to win. That's all he wanted to do. He wanted to win, and he would do anything for the team. He would step up for his teammates. He would play hard every night, and he did it in a very honest way. And I think that's why guys respected him so much around the league.
I saw it. It was after you and I became friends. I saw him. He came out of retirement, and you guys had a couple of days in a Florida hotel, and the Hurricanes were playing there. And I had gotten to know him decently well. And I mean, I told him, I said, Mike, I'm a huge fan. I want to see you win the cup so much. He just seems to be a guy that makes an incredible impression on anybody that finds their way onto his path and is lucky for doing so. What a spectacular guy. Do you see him still quite a bit right now?
I actually saw it. No, not right now, obviously, with everything going on, but we still stay in touch a little bit, and hopefully I can see him soon again. But I saw him right when the quarantine, or right when the season ended. I saw him quick, but obviously we stay in touch, and hopefully I can see him soon again.
Couple, I mentioned their names. Again, this comes from my man Cato. I did my homework for this dig-in session. Bitetto, Bonino, Hartnell. Am I missing anybody? I mean, who are the guys that have had historically in Nashville the best one-liners in that dressing room?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Hartnell was one of the funniest guys. What an awesome teammate he was. He was awesome. He was always there for a joke. Bitetto is awesome too. He's so funny. Bonino too. Bonino is very funny. Like you wouldn't think if you don't know him that well, but he's a very funny guy. Those three are probably the top three.
I know certain things stay in the room, but I saw Hartnell. This is two good ones about Hartnell. Number one, I just saw him, the fabulous job that Nashville did in COVID times to celebrate your Norris. He was on the scoreboard with a video. So if you had to tell me one story about Hartnell, maybe with those good one-liners that can leave the room, what would it be?
I don't know, Trip. You know what I remember about Hartnell? I was it wasn't I didn't play with him yet, but he was in Philly still, and we were playing in Philly, and I remember going down in the corner, and Timonen kind of cross-checked me a little bit, and I fell, and they called him for a cross-check, and I didn't mean to dive. It might have looked like a dive, but I didn't mean to. And I remember him coming over, and he's like, "Don't ever do that again." And that was my first year, I think, and I was like, and Hart was a tough guy, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he could hit. So I just remember that, and he said it's so serious, and I was kind of worried the whole game, but now knowing him, it's pretty funny because he's such a great guy and he's such a funny guy. But obviously, like when he's on the ice, he's one of those guys who yeah, I mean, he's a fearless competitor too. So I always remember that. I don't know why, and it was just funny, but he was a pretty intimidating guy.
Okay, so now I fast forward to, and I was lucky enough to be on hand for this. All right, Justin Williams, a dear friend, former dig-in guest, played with Hearts, and Carolina, the Canes, the mighty Canes were in town, and the Preds were celebrating Scott Hartnell. So I believe it was a face-off between you and Justin Williams, and it looked like some great stuff went on down there. Okay, what do you remember about that?
Yeah, Harty. We actually did it in Philly too. Me against Giroux, but Harty told us both before the game. He said he doesn't want to do just a regular face-off. He wants us to battle it out,
To dig in.
Dig in and try to win the face-off. Exactly. And I remember losing the face-off in Philly. Giroux beat me, but I won it against Williams actually, and it was funny because the guys knew it was going to happen, so they were like, "Yo, you better win this face-off." And Harty dropped it, and I actually won it against Williams. I think he let me win. He probably could have won it, but it was pretty funny.
Willie, like you, has a good, dry, quick sense of humor. Did he say anything good?
No, we didn't say much during the face-off, but it was just funny because normally you pick the puck up, right, and give it to Harty, but we were both digging in and just trying to win the face-off.
Love that. Okay, so the Bridgestone, tremendous arena. Do you know this? I actually was the first ever Nashville win was the Carolina Hurricanes in town. Their first ever franchise win. Oh man,
I didn't know that.
This is not a flattering story. So it's my second game ever on television. Oh, this is not good. And I went to a place called the Stockyard the night before, and there's a delay. I have no TV experience. It's an unknown expansion team. I mean, no player in the NHL is unknown. But one of our players on Carolina, the Preds score a goal, and he's headed to the box. His name was Dave Karpa, and he broke the glass. Okay? So we had like a 15-minute delay. I got no TV experience, all right? And I got to figure out, having enjoyed Smashville the night before. That's just honesty. All right. And I got to fill 15 minutes. At one point, I'm talking about the background of the logo. I swear, if I listen to that, and it ends up being played year in, year out, because it was the Predators' first ever win. Oh, my God, it was nauseating.
I got to watch that.
Oh, you're going to have to watch it. It was unbelievable. Yep.
I feel like you could easily fill 15 minutes.
Yeah, but
no problem.
Yost, that was embarrassing. Oh, my God. Yep, first ever Nashville win. So I think about all the memories just as a visitor in that building. I can't tell you how special I thought it was. Now, a couple weeks ago, let's start with, how did you find out that you had won the Norris Trophy?
David Poyle actually called me. I was in my car actually. I was driving with my wife Ellie, and he called me and pretty much told me that I won. And it was pretty surprising because I didn't expect it to be announced that day, or that he's going to call me. So I had no idea he was going to call me. So it was definitely a pretty emotional moment.
I want to get to my dear friend Ellie, who is just gleaming. She's so beautiful as a mom to be. But let's let's first, then let's progress because we're talking about Bridgestone. You went to the arena. Did you have any idea that this big ceremony was going to happen?
No, I had no idea actually. Our team manager actually told me like he wants me to come sign some things at Bridgestone and then go to lunch with David. And I figured they might do something like a little, like, I don't know, a small thing. Maybe there's some cake or a little, something small. And so I walk in, I sign some things, and then I walk in, and there Ellie stands there. So that's the first surprise. And then we walk in, and the whole staff was there. Everybody from the front office, the management, coach, everybody was there. So it was a pretty special day. I mean, it was unbelievable that like everybody came out to say congrats, and it was definitely special with the video, my teammates, Federer was on there, a Zoom call with my family, my friends. There's so many special things that day, so it was an unbelievable day for me for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned so many of those videos, and oh God, I'm going to get called soft for this. I might have had a slight tear in my. It was really nice, and I reached out immediately to your mother and father-in-law, because your father-in-law, for those that don't know, longtime president at my golf club, and your mother-in-law is a fabulous dentist, and these teeth are all fake, and she's well, sorry, I just almost gave you the middle finger. She has reattached these teeth a couple of different times.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she did. I hit, because I lost these shockingly, and I actually fought a guy in the minors that was a tough guy, and because I got 5 for receiving, and so they're all fake. So if I eat something wrong, usually it comes out. So she put it back on. Yeah, she put it back on.
Looks good.
Yeah, thanks, Yossi. So speaking of your mother and father-in-law, where did you meet Ellie, your future wife, Grosse Pointe native, which is where I'm from? Where did you meet her for the first time?
Well, we met through a mutual friend, and we actually met at a bar the first time, but he kind of connected us, and we met at the bar, and then we went to brunch the next day, and then went on a couple of dates, and she actually moved to Miami for a couple months, but so we went a couple of dates before, and we kind of kept talking the whole time, and then when she came back, and actually went to Detroit, and she was there, so that's when I saw her, and that's when I met Drew and Paula for the first time, and the rest is history.
I'm smiling from ear to ear because the biggest thing in life that you want to overachieve. So did she, but you overachieved. She is phenomenal. She's extraordinary. What is going to make her, due date February 14th? What's going to make her a spectacular mom?
Well, she already is. She already is a spectacular mom. She is. She's taking care of herself right now. She's trying to eat all the right things. She probably has read 5 books about pregnancy, what she should do, what the best way is. She already decorated the nursery. She's reading books about being a mom. So just the way she handles herself during this pregnancy is unbelievable. And I know she's going to be the best mom. She already is, the way she acts, and she's going to be unbelievable. I know she will be. So it's pretty exciting for me to see that and sit back and just watch her become a mom. It's pretty cool.
She did want me to ask you one question. This is from your wife. Elzo, as I call her, said, can you ask Roman, what's the deal with your hair, and in particular your bad hair days?
You know what? She said that in an interview, and I'm gonna admit I was a little. So I always wear a hat, right? Have you ever seen me without a hat? I always put a hat on. So there's certain times where you have to style your hair, right? You can't wear a hat, and it used to take me a while to do my hair and just get in the right spot. And my hair is right now, especially, it's long and it's so wild, so it's hard for me to put it in the right spot. And I used to get really mad about it, but I told her when I saw the interview, actually, I'm not anymore. I feel like I changed a little bit, but I definitely used to get mad about it for sure.
All right. So with yours and Ellie's, with your baby due date as of now, February 14th, we all know that's Valentine's Day. Yos, if you had to talk about the attempt, the execution, most romantic move when you were dating Ellie, when she was your fiance, or now as your wife, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know, Trev. I'm not the most romantic guy, I'm not gonna lie to you, and she knows that. But the most romantic thing I did, I mean, I'd get her flowers on Valentine's Day. We go out to dinner. We celebrate it. But I don't know. You'd have to ask her. But yeah, she knows I'm not the most romantic guy, but I definitely try pretty hard on Valentine's Day for sure.
Well, you have to, and I know, you know what? I think you're checking all the boxes, pal. Assume on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, roses,
Yep.
cook her
Mm-hmm.
dinner.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, you can cook. You know, that's all women say. A guy that can cook is a sexy guy.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I can cook. I can make some meals, but I'm not a great cook. I would say I'm a very, very average cook.
What's your go-to? If you had to do, like Nino, our buddy Nino Niederreiter's eating fondue in Switzerland right now. If you had one go-to, like for me, it's gnocchi. If I really, really want to be romantic, it's gnocchi. What would yours be?
I make great homemade tacos.
Oh yeah.
The meat. I'm pretty good at spicing the meat, and I keep them pretty simple. Onions, tomatoes, meat, ground meat. They're pretty simple, but they're good.
You on your honeymoon, you went on a photography safari in Africa. What would you say? That's cool. What would you say your favorite animal was that you saw when you were over there?
Probably the leopard. Leopard was cool. We followed the leopard for a while, and he was just walking and marking his territory, and then he was going to. So he just killed a prey, and he put it up on the tree, which was pretty cool. And you see him going up on the tree, and he has this I don't know what it was. I think maybe an impala, and he has this impala up on the tree, and there's like 2 or 3 hyenas on the bottom of the tree just waiting for him to drop something. But he was up there. Obviously the hyenas couldn't go up there, so he was pretty safe up there. But they're just cool animals. We saw them a lot, and it was pretty cool just to follow them and see how they behave.
Well, it's the circle of life, you know, not to quote the Lion King, but it's the circle of life. Yos, what was the best part? That's pretty cool. What was the best part of the trip?
Well, one of the cool things was we stayed at this we stayed in at this resort in Botswana. Well, it was like camping kind of, and we had these elephants who literally came right next to our tent, and they were just probably like 5 feet away from us, just walking around our tent, and it was pretty special because the elephant is Ellie's favorite animal, so it was pretty cool to see them that up close.
That's spectacular. You know, and the elephant, you mentioned the leopard. Those are just 2 of the 5 members of the Big 5, okay? And your year this year, you were the Big 5, you were the Big 10, you were the Big 15. If you were to, because now you're on that trophy with all of these other greats in the history of the game, including one of your favorites, Nicholas Lindstrom, how would you define the boxes that a defenseman must check to win the Norris Trophy? Not speaking about you. I'm talking about any candidate.
Well, I think as a defenseman, you gotta play well defensively. I think that's the first thing. Like that's your job. You're defenseman. You're supposed to to play well defensively. You got to defend hard. And then I think obviously the offense is a big part of today's game. There's a lot of teams now, they attack with 4 guys every time, and a lot of defensemen jump up in the play and join the rush. So I think it's a balance between defense and offense. I think you're supposed to be a good two-way defenseman.
Two-way defenseman, and again, I don't know. God, I forgot to turn the mute on the home phone. Probably fans calling in with questions for the great Yossi. I remember having a conversation a few years ago with Scotty Bowman and Drew Doughty, Norris Trophy winner like you. He was playing a ton of minutes. You were in the top 3 in minutes this year. You are every year. And I said, Scotty, you coach Lindstrom. I said, can Drew continue to play these heavy minutes? And he said, well, they can be taxing when you lug the puck up the ice like Doughty does. He said Lindstrom would go back, make a quick decision, get rid of it, and then a lot of times trail the play or the art of give and go. What would you say with regards to growth and being able to manage your minutes, of not having to carry the puck all the time, of really the execution of the give and go play?
Yeah. Well, I think it's huge in today's game. I mean, coming in as a 4th guy, jumping up is definitely a big thing. And I mean, if you're playing a lot of minutes, obviously you want to get the puck in the forward's hand and try to jump up. And I think part of my game is obviously to skate out of the zone too, and jump up or get the puck and skate into the zone. So I think the minutes is something. The more you play a lot, the more you get used to playing a lot more minutes. And but you definitely have to manage it a little bit sometimes, but more on back-to-backs. But I think the more you play, the more you get used to it.
Have you, all of the household names, Hall of Famers on that trophy, have you heard from, now that you're part of the club, have you heard from any of the guys and congratulations, or had any conversations?
Actually Bobby Orr called me, which was pretty special. Obviously one of the best to ever play the game. So it was pretty cool. He called me and said congrats. And I mean, obviously he was unbelievable. I mean, just watching his highlights is pretty cool. So it was very, very humbling to hear from him.
Well, it's safe to say that Bobby dug in. Does the league, did they send, I was watching you and Ellie at the ceremony in the surprise at Bridgestone. I didn't take time to look. Was the Norris Trophy there? Do you have it? Have you been able to take a look at it yet?
No, I don't. I haven't seen it yet. I think they're sending me a replica of it, but I haven't seen the trophy yet.
This comes from your father-in-law, the great Drew Ottaway. He said, because I asked him today, I said, if Yossi's got it? And he said, well, I jokingly told him he's got to get it up here to Michigan. Maybe we can play a golf round for it. So you had 2 weddings, you and the great Elzo, Ellie. You had one in Nashville, you went on the safari, and you then had one here in Michigan where Ellie's from. So I'm in a foursome with Drew, you, and we're playing 18. You're beating me like a rented mule, all right? And I keep doubling and doubling. I finally think I got you on 18. I'm right down the middle. You're in the trees. What do you remember?
The luckiest shot of my life, probably. No, I mean, I was in the trees on the right side, but I had a pretty good line towards the green. And I mean, I'm not a great golfer. I'm a very average golfer, and I hit the ball a lot. And once in a while I have a good shot, just an average golfer. And it was a big shot, and I took my pitching wedge, and I probably hit one of the best shots I've ever hit, close to the flag. And I probably couldn't do it if I tried 10 more times, but it was just, I guess it was my lucky day. But it was pretty funny to see your reaction.
Well, I have to tip my cap. You dug in. You dug in, and I
I
mentioned
did.
earlier, that is the hole. It's a famous hole because that's where Arnold Palmer won his U.S. Amateur. Okay, that's the hole. He got up and down from behind the green. You didn't have to get up and down. You made a kick-in birdie. I think we gave you the putt. I mean, it was that sensational of a shot, and you just threw it. You put a dagger right through my heart. I'm sitting there, and I mean, I had so much fun that day. But I mean, I turned to Drew, your father-in-law. I said, "Wow, what a competitor! What a competitor!" And the other thing I want to ask you, because I typically, you don't always know it, but I don't miss a trick. A bunch of the group had, it's the night before your wedding. So as would be ritual, guys went out and they had a decently late night. I go into the club. I hadn't been with you guys. And there you are coming out of the club gym. You obviously dug in. And, it's talent and work ethic. It's a lot of people don't have that work ethic because if you've ever seen the movie Scent of a Woman, it's too damn hard. So with regards to work ethic, that won't change whether you're on an entry-level contract or now with your new one, because it won't change you one bit. Where does that come from? That unwavering work ethic? Because I saw you working out in the club gym first thing that morning.
Well, I just think the passion for the game, just trying to be the best I can be, and I've, like you said, I think it doesn't matter where you are in your career. You can always get better, and there's always things you work on. And I think every summer, I'm trying to find new things that I can work on and get better at. And yeah, it's. I mean, I love hockey. I love playing hockey. I love competing against guys, and it's the passion. So it's easy for me to work hard and go to the gym on a day when you might not want to, but it's gonna be worth it and pay off. So yeah, it's the passion for the game. I love the game. I love competing, and so yeah, that makes me work hard.
If you were to define, because all of your teammates, all they talk about is what a great teammate you are to any teammate, whether it's a call up from Milwaukee, whether it's one of the great Nashville Predators of all time, Pecorine. They will talk to the ends of the earth about the kind of teammate you are. Not just the captain, teammate. So in team sports, did you learn early on, whether it be soccer, tennis, hockey? And if you were to define what makes the type of teammate that you want to be in the National Hockey League, what would you say?
Well, I think treating your teammates with respect, and just in general in life, I think I'm a big believer in treating people with respect, and I think in a team it's one of the most important things. I think no matter, like you said, no matter where you are in your career or who you talk to on the team, you got to treat your teammates with respect. And I mean, hockey has so many great people. That there's so many unbelievable people in hockey, and there's so many great people I learned from in Nashville. We talked about Shea and Fish, how they treat everyone with respect and all their teammates. And yeah, that's something I definitely learned very early, and I think it's one of the most important things.
Yos, as we get somewhat near the finish line, hang on here. It's getting, oh, darn it. I forgot to turn on the light. Anyways, I can still read it. You have some great broadcasters in Nashville. And I'm going to take one or two questions from each of them. All right. The first one comes from Chris Mason, the television color analyst, and he's a fabulous guy. Okay. And he says, this is from the great Mace. I call him my Western brother because he gave me the status as an honorary Western Hockey Leaguer. And he said he spoke to you and he gave you the choice of 3 players to choose from as your D partner. Victor Hedman, John Carlson, Ryan Ellis, who is your partner. And you said it's Ryan Ellis. Talk about that. I think that epitomizes who you are. Yeah,
it is. And I mean it. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. You know that his hockey sense is unbelievable, and I think he's still like a little bit underappreciated around the league of how good he is, and he just makes me such a better player. He allows me to play my game. We've been building obviously a lot of chemistry over the years by playing together, and he always knows where I'm going. He kind of always knows my next step, and there's so many little things he does that you don't necessarily see, but that I see every day as a partner. And I said it before. I mean, I should probably give half of the trophy to him because he has such a huge part in it, and he's an unbelievable player, and I definitely pick him any day.
All right, Yossi, I have to ask a follow-up question here, again from the great Mace. he asked me to ask you how many Ricolas you have a game day. Okay, these cough drops. Ricola. I don't sing like some of the great country singers in Nashville. What's the background of these Ricolas? I mean, do you have a throat situation?
I honestly don't know how it started. But I played with Mace, and I'm from Switzerland, and the Ricolas are coming from Switzerland, right? You saw the commercial and stuff, and every time we saw each other or walked by in the dressing room or on the plane or whatever, we acted like we took a Ricola. Like I would give him a Ricola, he'd give me one, and we act like it was the best thing ever. Clears up your throat. You need it before games, you need it after games, you need it in the gym, and it was just never ending. So it's kind of been our thing since.
Okay. You know, a lot of players go with smelling salts. Yost goes with
Ricola.
Okay, I'm going to move over to your radio color commentator, and I can tell you, you know, when watching the Hurricanes, when the Pittsburgh Penguins eventually won the Stanley Cup in 2009, and the Canes went to play the Penguins in the conference finals, Hal Gill was unbelievable. Eric Stahl was hot as a firecracker, and Hal shut him down. With Rob Scuderi was his partner. And, you know, I have a ton of respect for the Stanley Cup champion, Hal Gill. And he and Mace and I, for the record, we've dug in a few times together. And so this comes from Hal to Yost. When the team needs to get something going, he always is up for it. What goes through his head at those moments?
Well, I think as a leader on the team, I think you want to make a difference, and whenever the team is down or we're not playing well, you're trying to make an impact, and I think an impact can be a lot of different ways. It can be in the locker room by saying something, or it can be on the ice by having a great shift, blocking a shot, and I think as a leader, you're not always going to have your game. You're not always going to play your best, but I think you got to find a way to make a difference. And especially when your team is down, you gotta make a difference. Doesn't mean you have to go out and try to score all by yourself or score 3 goals. You can make a difference in a lot of different ways, and I think that's an important thing for a leader.
Good stuff. And, you know, we're going to digress in the second question, just like we did with Mace from the great Hal Gill. And he said about you, he used to drink chocolate milk all the time. Does he still? I mean, and if so, was it Swiss? Is it Swiss Miss being Swiss?
You know what? That's one of the other things of being Swiss. I definitely like chocolate milk. I'm not going to lie. I used to drink chocolate milk probably once a day for breakfast. I mean, how could you not? It's great, right? And we have some of the best chocolate milk in Switzerland, obviously, but not as much anymore. But I definitely used to, and it was one of those running jokes in the locker room too. Guys would always make fun of me for drinking too much chocolate milk.
What makes your chocolate milk in Switzerland so damn good?
Well, have you had chocolate from Switzerland?
I've had. I mean, if you want to pan down, look at me, Yossi.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of it, but I'm not one that. I don't usually go with that kind of milk. I'm really just not a milk. I'm a dairy guy, but not an actual milk guy. Yeah, I've had Swiss chocolate. Nino and I have talked about it at length.
Yeah.
What makes chocolate milk so damn Swiss good?
I don't know. Honestly, the milk is really good in Switzerland too. But I don't know why it's so good in Switzerland, but I don't know. It just is. It's the cheese and the chocolate milk. It's just really good.
It's nothing about the cows. I thought I got into this with Nino. I thought Nino and I dug in about this at one
Nino
point.
would probably know more.
Yeah,
You
he
should
and
ask him.
I will ask him, but he's in his fondue fest right now.
Yeah, not right now.
All right, probably three more things, and we're going to call it a day, partner. Speaking of Switzerland, you're a central part of this. I mean, I think you mentioned Mark Streit, your dear friend and teammate Yannick Weber. Boy, years ago, I remember playing against David Abisher in the minors, Ralph Kruger coaching in Switzerland. How far has the popularity of hockey in Switzerland come? Where's it at with regards to competition with, of course, Roger Federer in tennis and soccer right now? And how bright is the hockey future in Switzerland?
It's very bright. It's definitely come a long way. I mean, hockey's always been very popular in Switzerland, but like you said, there was a time where we didn't have any players in the NHL. We had a couple goalies, Abisher, Gerber, who played really well, but we didn't have any forwards or defensemen that ever made it in the NHL. We had a couple guys that played one or two games, but we never really had a guy establish himself in the NHL. So I think when Mark Streit came over and really made it in the league and became a star in the NHL, it was like this big eye opener for all the kids. And I was probably 14 at the time, 14, 15, somewhere around there. And it just kind of gave us that belief that it's possible to make it in the NHL. And Mark Streit really opened a lot of doors for us. And I became really good friends with him a little bit after I started to train with him. And he's one of those guys who had a huge impact on my career and everybody's career that plays in the NHL now. He really opened those doors for us. So I think that's where it all started. And now I think it's getting better and better. I mean, we had the first overall pick with Shea, which was huge for Swiss hockey, and the 2 silver medals at the Worlds. So it's definitely heading in a good direction.
Yos, I have to expound upon this, and I think I'm not sharp. I think I need some Ricolas because Martin Gerber. Wow. Okay. Now, when he was playing for Carolina, this is a pretty good story. I mean, I thought, first of all, Rod Brindamore, the Stanley Cup winning captain, would say that he was the most important part of that regular season because they could play differently, as good as he was. And there was no All-Star game because it was an Olympic year, and he went and stood on his head and beat the Canadians, didn't he? Didn't he? Yeah. I mean, he was unbelievable. But
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and I remember telling him early on, I mean, I loved him as a goalie, but I was calling him Martin Gerber. And we're on a West Coast swing early in the season. He comes up to me and he goes, Tripp, what's with this Martin thing? And I'm like, he's like, it's Martin. and because here was the background. I had dated a woman that was Swiss French. She worked in the timepiece industry for Audemars Piguet. We're going to get to your watch company in a minute. All right. So that was my first mistake. All right. But she was Swiss French. You, Nino, Gerbs, you're Swiss German. So I was thinking Swiss French. That's why I was saying Martin Gerber. All right.
That's funny.
Speak about the impact of Gerbs, because I'll tell you, in Carolina, no chance they have a Stanley Cup without the contributions of Martin Gerber.
Yeah, he was unreal. I mean, he was so good, and he was I think he played in the third league in Switzerland when he was like 19 or 20, and he fought his way up to the first league, made it to the NHL, and had a huge impact in the NHL. So it's a pretty cool story, and I actually play with him. I played with him World Championships in Sweden too, and we won silver, and he was unbelievable in that. And I remember him watching him as a kid. He was an unbelievable goalie, and he's an awesome guy. You know that too. I know him pretty well. We have this camp in the summer, and he's such a great guy, such a funny guy.
Let me be clear, because I told you earlier, I'm not digging in with anybody that doesn't dig in. I would happily dig in with the Ricola, with the Swiss chocolate milk with Gerbs. I mean, he was awesome. Awesome. I want to ask about your watch company at the end. But first, 2 questions about, again, you talked about the connection with the fans in Nashville, the special organization. There's a guy there that goes by, he's one of your equipment managers. He works with the visiting team that goes by the name Partner. He's been there forever, right from the get-go. I remember him, when I was in town for that first ever Nashville win. Takes the bus. He's part of the team. He is the Nashville Predators. And for those dig-in guests listening and watching, can you describe who Partner is and why he is such a central piece, an intangible? He is Nashville.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, he's just the best guy ever. I mean, you come in the morning after a bad game and you see him, he lights up your day. I mean, he's the nicest person, and obviously I've been here for a long time now, and we've become really good friends. And he actually couldn't come to training camp before we went to the bubble, and you could just tell how everyone missed him at the rink. You just love coming in the morning and seeing him at the rink, and he's a legend in Nashville. Like, you take him anywhere, people know him. Like, you go to a Titans game with him, everybody knows Partner, because he's just such a great guy. And I mean, the visiting teams love him. Every time they come in town, they can't wait to see Partner. And he's, like I said, he's the best person, and you just love being around him. He lights up your day, no matter what happens.
And he's working the visiting room. I mean, playoff series, a game you need to win. Well, let's just think about your Stanley Cup. I was talking to Crosby about him today. He loves him, all right? But he's working the visiting room, in the Stanley Cup finals. These are games you got to have. Did you guys ever just say, hey, Partner, you know what? Why don't you throw a little, something like, the Dumb and Dumber diarrhea cause? Or do you ever say, hey, can you just go sabotage the visiting room?
We do, but he would never in a million years would ever do something like that. He's the most honest guy, especially about his work. I mean, he's the most honest guy about his work, but we definitely tell him that, but we know he would never, ever do that.
Well, at least you guys have at least tried to get him to do it, but yeah. Finally, I think this speaks to truly who you are, my friend. Can you please educate everybody, and are there ways to get involved with, I believe Pekka also perhaps started, or the history and everything that is spectacular about your Best Buddies program in Nashville. Can you speak about it?
Yeah, it actually started with Barry Trotz here in Nashville. He was the first who joined Best Buddies and kind of brought it to Nashville. And I remember my first year, he asked us to come to the gala dinner they had, and I didn't know much about Best Buddies, and we went to the dinner, and from that day, I knew I wanted to be involved, because I met so many amazing people that night, and ever since. I mean, I've made so many friends over the years now working with Best Buddies, and they're just the most amazing people. They always put a smile on your face whenever you see them, and Best Buddies is doing an amazing job. I mean, they put together a prom, they put together a gala. There's different events, and it's an amazing organization, and I love being part of it, and I've met some amazing people through it.
Any I mean, I'm sure you have countless stories, but at the prom or anything else, any one particular experience that really just jumps out at you that is what Best Buddies is all about?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, the prom is awesome. They make me dance at the prom on stage, which is embarrassing, but But yeah, like the prom is pretty cool. The gala is pretty awesome, and then we have this best buddies program where we before every game we go through the Lexus Lounge, and there's two best buddies, paired buddies that are there giving us fist pumps, and I see them before the game, and then you see them after the game, and they're just I mean, they're so happy to be at the game, and they're always happy to see you, and it's the same for you. It's always, every time I go to an event, it's the best time, and yeah, I mean, they're awesome, and the organization is awesome, so it's pretty cool to be part of it.
All world. And finally, all world, right after you just killed me on 18 on the golf course, you picked that time to tell me about, it was right as we were walking off. And I mean, I'm devastated. All right. Oh, I must have went to put on after it. My putt didn't even matter. So I put on my watch. And you said, Tripper, you got to get into these Norquans. Am I pronouncing? Tell me about your watch line, because we're going to tag it, here on this digging into the NH. Norcane. Okay, again, like Martin Gerber. I mean, my pronunciations are way off. Okay. All right. I just saw a limited edition Norquane NHLPA watch. Tell me about how you got involved. What's most exciting about it? Because all the best watches in the world are Swiss made. We know that.
Yeah. It's actually a funny story. So our friend, he used to work at Breitling. He's Mark Streit and my friend. And we had we had a barbecue that one night. It was with Mark Streit and a couple of friends. And he came from a meeting, and he told us he would quit his job probably. And we were like, me and Mark Streit, two hockey guys, were like, hey, let's start our own thing. Why not? It's probably easy to start our own watch brand. And obviously we had no idea how hard it is. And so that's kind of how it started. He was like, yeah, we should actually try it. And then he actually got to work and started doing, like, putting together a plan about our own watch brand. And yeah, it's been really good. I mean, he put together an unbelievable team, and he is Ben is his name. He's the most passionate guy you'll ever meet about watches, and he knows so much about watches, and he's one of the hardest working guys. And he put together this team, and they've done an unbelievable job. And now, yeah, we got that PA watch, which is pretty cool, and yeah, it's done pretty well, and it's pretty fun to be part of it.
Yos, thanks, baby. Thanks for digging in.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. That's fun.
I'll see you soon. Wow, Admiral, our fine producer, my partner, Adam Holtzman. What do you have for me today?
So in your extensive library behind you, what's your favorite book and author back there that you've read?
What would that be? Yeah, you know what I would say? This is a book that everybody should go get. It's a book called Untethered by a young man named J.T. Mesta. If those of you that remember our 100-ton studio, he's a kid who is from here, young man now. For those great Caniacs out there, he's a Michigander, but he's a North Carolinian. Went to High Point, and he went through an absolute ton. Really through his entire life so far. It is an incredibly powerful book about a constantly positive attitude. My mom, who reads 3 or 4 books a week, said she just could not put it down. I read it, as a matter of fact, across the Atlantic. I was going to Mykonos. I couldn't put it down. He is a spectacular human being that has really, at different times, you could say, been dealt a bad hand, and he dug in. He dug in constantly, consistently, and now he's in an incredible place on all fronts. And so his book's right back there. Untethered by J.T. Mesta would be my favorite one. Admiral?
We all know how close you are to your mom. What's the best piece of life advice that she's given you?
Oh, that's a good one. Truthfully, she would say, I'm too trusting of people because not everybody has the tremendous intentions that I would like to think I always have. At times she says that I can be naive because I always want to see the good in people. You know, she's a straight shooter. You know, Admiral, it's been well documented now that we're very, very proud in the Tracy family that my cousin, Jim Farley, just got named president and CEO of the Ford Motor Company. And there's a big article here in Detroit. Classic my mom at the end. Not wasting any words. She just said, Ford made a good choice. So, you know, maybe that would be that. But I don't ever want to not trust people, because that's the highlight of the human experience of wanting to believe in everybody. But she definitely has told me that, you know, that not to be cynical, but not everybody on earth has positive DNA. And I've been very stubborn and bullheaded, Adam, of taking that advice. And truthfully, she's the best mom in the world. I don't know if I actually will take that advice. And I've paid a penalty for it at different points for not doing so. And I admire the heck out of her, because we're coming up on 2 years since my dad passed away. And, you know, she gets up in the morning, the power of just making your bed and going through a routine. And that's how you dig in and soldier on. But I think if she was sitting here right now, that's what she would say is the advice she would really implore me to take.
And finally, if you weren't an NHL announcer, what would you be doing for a living?
Well, now hopefully growing a podcast. What else would I consider? Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but you know, I do other things for a living. I sell screws. I actually sell screws. A dear friend who maybe we'll dig in with at some point, closest of friends, Nick Giorgio is his name. And during the NHL work stoppage, the lockout in 2004, 2005, we were down in Florida, and he owns a fastener company that his dad started many moons ago. Also a wine company. And they both have been sponsors, Allstate Fastener and Vintage Wine, of the podcast. And he said, Trip, you're not doing anything right now. Why don't you see if you enjoy selling fasteners? And I said, come on, I'll go work for the wine company. That's a lot more enticing. And he said, you know what? Nuts and bolts aren't sexy, but everybody uses them. And that is very true. I've been fortunate over the years that I have a couple of customers, one that I'm particularly fond of, Great Dane in the trailer industry. In my opinion, hands down the best trailer manufacturer. And certainly that big Great Dane logo decal is the finest looking one there is. And what it's taught me is that, because it starts with cold calls. And I mean, you are a great salesman if 9 out of 10 people treat you like the bubonic plague. I mean, you're really good. And I don't even know if I'm any good, because I've always been a much better giver than asker. But that's what I actually do to stay busy. What would I be doing if I wasn't a television announcer? I just don't know, because I'm overwhelmed, not to get deep and dig in too deep, but I really am overwhelmed at 46, almost 47, of how fortunate I am to be involved in the game of hockey and chosen it as a career. I hope a lifelong career, more than anything else, because of the people you meet. Quick story. I was driving up north to beautiful Alpena in the woods last Friday, and I was on I-75, had a lot of time to kill, and a dear friend who has been, well, a dear friend and like a mentor to me, and he's a real outdoorsman, Hall of Famer Mickey Redmond, who is a legend here in Detroit, of course, does color on television for the Red Wings, 50-goal scorer, Mick, salt of the earth. And he knew I was going up to deer camp up there. And he said, Trip, do you have your flannel on? And I said, no, Mick, I came up here. I didn't know I was going to be packing for this. I didn't know I'd be spending the whole fall in Michigan. I'm not equipped. He said, what's your size? And he said, I'll have it up there. I can't have you sitting around the campfire without the proper flannel. And he took care of me. And that's the kind of things that people in hockey do. And fortunately, at least for now, I've never had to think about another line of work. And that's why I'm so grateful to be involved in the sport. I don't think I would have been a great astronaut. I love planes, but I don't think anybody would ever trust me flying the team plane. Can I continue to ponder that, Admiral, and get back to you?
Yeah, we'll get you with the for next week. No problem.
Thanks, Admiral. That's a good one. That is really, truly a good one. I know I'm a terrible driver, so I couldn't be a chauffeur. My God, am I a bad driver? Maybe an angler. I maybe could have been an angler. I do have some talent. I'm gonna resume the search for the elusive swordfish here in a couple of weeks. Maybe an angler. Well, that was great, Yos. That was great. Makes me feel a lot better when you beat me on 18 right down the road here with big stakes on the line with that ridiculous shot. But that's what the greats do. That's what the greats do. Even if you don't have the talent, as he's developing on the golf course, you do it with will. You just do it with perseverance. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a superstar. And Yos took it to me. Yos, thanks for digging in today. Love you. Thank you so much to the New Country Auto Group for making this happen, again, for committing for another 10 episodes, dealerships in New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Maryland, right on down to Florida. The Mercedes that Roman Josi, he's faithful to that brand. Big part of New Country, Mercedes is. Ferrari, BMW, Lexus, across the board. I mean, if you want a smart car, they've got you covered. The finest auto group in the United States, newcountry.com, family owned. They make everybody feel like they are the premier client on all levels and all facets. They check all boxes, just like you have to win the Norris Trophy. newcountry.com. Until the next time, I want to remind you again to please rate and review the show at Dig In Trip on Instagram and Twitter, on YouTube as well. And also, please check out at digintrip.com all of our merchandise. I mean, I'm telling you right now, this stuff is good stuff. I mean, from hats to T-shirts, V-neck, regular ones, mugs, toques, winter hats, hoodies. We're just scratching the surface. So get involved. Digintrip.com for our merchandise. Rate and review the show. That's the only vehicle we have to know how we can grow for you. And until the next time, thank you so much to Roman Josi for digging in with us.
We're digging in with Trip today, yeah. Today, yeah. Today, yeah. Today.